Hello and welcome back to Coding with T. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn a very important concept, which is to deal with the products. Because in e-commerce application or in any application, the core or the heart of the application is its product. And this is what we are going to create in today's tutorial. We are going to first learn how to fetch all the products which we have already stored and what is the database structure and how we're going to display those products inside table. Products has relationship with brands and also they have relationship with categories. So they are also two type of products, single and variable products. So make sure to watch this video till end. And if you're new to this playlist, you can watch the previous videos. I'll drop the link in the description below, and make sure to watch the last section in order to fully understand today's tutorial. So let's get started. We are inside our e-commerce admin panel, and over here, first of all, this is the dashboard which we have already created. The backend is about to be completed but not yet created, whereas design is completed. Then in the media, we have already learned complete front end, complete back end, and all the functionalities added. Then we cover the banners and categories, brands. These things are created, but today we are going to focus on the products. So let's click on it, and you can see all the products are loaded. We have their images and the name of the product. We can select any product, we can unselect them. We have sorting options, which is around four sorting options. We can sort using names in ascending order, in descending order. We can also sort in stock if stock is less, or again in ascending and descending. After that, we have the sold. There is nothing inside the sold. When number of products are going to be sold using orders, we are going to add that increment over here, and we will be able to see when the stock will be reducing, because current total stock is 15, and once we have the sold items, we know that how much we have left. Then this is the brand of that specific product. We have the brand image and the brand name. Then this is the pricing. If you see over here, this is the variable product, means it is starting from $12.6 to $35. But these all products are the single products, they only have one single price. Then we have date of the product, and if we are going to, let's say, select any product, if we scroll a bit down when the product is loaded, you can see we do not have any additional product images. And in the brand, we have the Kenwood, which is selected from the brands, and from the categories, we have these two categories selected among all the categories. And also you can see the product type is single. If it is variable, we might have some variables over here. And if we're going to open this one, which is having variations, you can see it has four images or four additional images. It has its own brand and categories, but down below we also have its variations, right? You can go to each variation and select its own stock, picture, pricing, everything. So for today's tutorial, typically we're going to learn that how we are going to fetch and display all the products over here, and then in the next tutorial we're going to see how we can add, update, and delete everything. So let's get started. We are creating Flutter e-commerce admin panel, and as I explained earlier, make sure to watch the last section, which is the ninth section, before watching today's tutorial, because there are a lot of concepts that we have already covered in first 4 to 5 videos. They are quick short videos but very informative, covered each and every step. And to save the time, I'm not going to repeat those things again and again. So by saying this, let's head towards the project. Okay, we are inside our e-commerce admin panel, and before I start coding, in order to fetch the data, as we explained in the first video of this section, this last section, we covered the details that how we are going to fetch the data from the database. So we have the design is going to request that this thing is required from the database. It is going to go to the controller will verify that request and send it to the repository if there is anything required from the repository, because repository is the class which is dealing with the cloud operations, which means we have the CRUD to fetch data from Firestore, deal with the Firebase storage with authentication. Everything is inside the repositories, and repository is going to receive data from Firebase in a JSON format, and that JSON format is going to go to the model. That model is going to map that JSON format into the model, and we will get our model data, and same things will reach back to the design. So by saying this, we need model, repository, controller, and design is already created. Again, you can watch the previous videos if you're new here. So first of all, if we talk about the product model, you can see this is the product model. This is very identical to what we have created inside the app. But over here, the one extra thing, if you already watch the app series, in that you might not seen something like stored quantity. This is the new one. You can create it. So this is the constructor, and down below we have the empty helper function formatted date. Then this is the function which is going to call to JSON, means convert all the data of this model to the JSON format. And then this one is going to fetch all the data from the JSON and map that JSON on top of this product model and return it from here. These are basically two type of model. This one is for the stream data. If you're going to receive the data in streams, then you need to use this function, and otherwise you just have to use from snapshot. And if you want to go to the product attribute model and variation model, so let's click on this one. In the attributes, we have name and values in a list of string. So I'm also going to show you our database. But first, let's see. This is the model of attribute. We have its constructor. JSON is going to convert the name and values, which is again the list of string. I will show you. Then this one is going to get that list, which will be JSON, and convert that JSON back to the product attribute model and return that model to the product model from where it is called right over here, and we will receive that model inside our product attributes in a list format. Then if you want to see the variation model, we have these details in the variation, and again stored quantity is the new variable. If you're following from the e-commerce app, we have the same functions, JSON function, and also from the JSON we're going to convert to the product variation model and we'll send back to product model, where we will create a list and send the list back to product variations. Okay, once the model is created, it's time to work with the product repository, because this is where we are going to deal with the cloud operations. So name is product repository. I have added all the functions again just to save the time, because we have already covered these tutorials inside app as well, but you can just copy them. So first function is create product. We're going to see that in the next tutorial, but it is just simply database.collection of products and .add. By converting this model to a JSON format, we can simply add it, right? Then we have create product category, update product specific value, and this is the function that we need in today's tutorial, which is get all products. So if you see this one, we are going to call the Firebase firestore.instance. We have created at the top as a variable. Let me show you, which is this one. You can also directly use Firebase firestore.instance over here. It will be fine. And then go to the collection of products. Make sure to use the same name, otherwise it is not going to find that collection. And once we have that snapshot, means list of documents. In that snapshot, we have list of documents based on this query. And on top of these documents, we're going to loop through one by one, and all the JSONs of each document will be converted back to the product model, and we will create its list and send this list of product models back to from where it is called inside the controller. And now if we go back to product controller, this is the product controller, and I hope you have already watched the base controller class, which is again the previous tutorials inside this last section. In the base controller, we have some predefined values because it is abstract class, means abstract class do not have their own instances, they cannot be created. But because base controller is the parent class, and all the functions and these variables can be used by the child classes, so this means when we're going to extend the base class, we can easily access, or we have all the functions and variables accessible inside this child class. So we know that we have three functions that we need to override, because inside the base class we have these three methods that are abstract method, and if we want to use this class, then we need to define the implementation of these three functions. Okay, just to fetch the data, we are simply going to call the product repository dot get all products, which the function that we just see. So get all products is again going to get all the products and assign the products back to from where this function is being called. So go to the base data controller. This is where this function is calling to fetch all the products. And once that data is here, it is going to store it in the empty list. And then all items, filtered items, and the same number of empty selected rows by default will be false, will be created. So we have all items in the RX list, means whenever there is change, just update the design, and again filter items again with the RX list. Then in order to search anything, because we do not only want to search the title as we are doing in the previous tutorials for the brands, categories, banners, etc., but this one contains four things. If you see, this function contains search query. Inside the base data controller, we have this function search query, and we are going to call contain search query, which has item and query. So this item is product model, which now we have to search, and we have to return actually true or false, and based on that true or false, this item will be added in the filtered items so that we can display those filtered items only. So we will see if item.title, make sure to add lowercase, contains this query, or check the brand name, stock, and price. So if this is the case, we will display that specific product. Then to delete that item, because we're also going to cover the delete in this tutorial, to delete that item, simply call product repository dot delete product, in which we're going to pass that product. And if you see the delete product, we're going to run a wait call, again call database dot run transaction. We have a transaction means if we are going to delete or perform operations on top of multiple categories at a time, and let's say the product is deleted from the main product but not from the bridge table or from the relational category or the collection. Okay, first of all, let's see about the Firestore database and how the products are being listed over here. So this is the products collection, and inside we have list of documents around 40 products. So if we talk about the first one, at first we have a brand, which is a map, means it is a JSON. In the brand we have its ID, image is featured, name, and products count. If I'm going to close this brand, we have then string, category ID, string description. Then images are the list, means it's an array. We usually call it as a list, which has 0, 1, 2, 3. And if you want to add more images, these are actually the additional images. And then is featured is a boolean, price is double, in here it is number. And now product attributes. So because we have lot of product attributes, either one, two, we can generate dynamic attributes. Then each attribute is treating over here like a JSON or a map. If you see, it has 0, and at the 0 we have one key, and then again we have array, means green, black, red, whatever the values of this variation. And now, sorry, the attributes, and based on these two attributes, we're going to able to generate different type of variations, like color green, size 34. We're going to pick one of them or each of them and then generate other attributes. So this is again going to be a map, product variations, and then each variation has its own values. Attribute values is again a map inside it. Then these are its values that we are passing to product variations one by one, because it is a list. You can see currently we have 6 attribute variations or the product variations. Each variation will be passed to the product variation model, and that product variation model will map all this data on top of that model and return that model to us in a form of list. Then we have sale price and everything. But if you see this, we have the category ID. So this is not being actually used because at first we decided to go for the category ID while creating the app. That category ID or one single product can only have one category. In that case, this thing is valid, right? So we have the category ID, we can fetch that category, it's fine. But if you want to go for many to many relationship, one product can have multiple categories and one category can go into multiple products. Then in that case, you have to create a bridge collection, which is product category, which will only have the category ID and product ID. So based on this relation, we will be easily able to fetch all the categories of specific product. Now, if we go back, we were talking about deleting the product. Now you see we have two collections, products and product category collection. And if you want to delete products from the products and also from the product categories, let's say the product itself is deleted successfully from the products collection. But when we are going to go for the product category, we come up with some exception, or there's something other issues, some format exception, platform exception, whatever from the Firebase exception. And unfortunately, product category or the list of categories, relational data of product and categories are not deleted. So then we are not sync. Our database is now cluttered. We need to find each and every document, which is a very hectic task. And to avoid that, we use transactions so that all the operations perform single-handedly. Either they are, you see, either they are deleted or not. So in order to do that, we have to first create the product reference, which is database, Firebase Firestore database dot instance, then collection of products, then document, and use the ID. Right? We have the product ID over here. So once we have that specific reference of the product, we use transaction to get. Now we have that product snapshot. If it is empty, we will simply return from here because there is no such product. Else, based on that product ID, we are going to fetch all the relations from the product category collection based on this product ID, and we will pass the product ID like this. And by this way, we have all the categories which contains this product ID, right? So once we have those things, we are simply going to map those into models again, and we're going to start deleting them one by one. Inside for loop, if product categories are not empty, we're going to run a for loop and using transaction, which is over here passed inside this run transaction function. And once we delete all these product categories, then we're going to perform the action on top of the product reference, which is the product itself. And once this complete operation is going to be completed using async, only then this task will be closed, right? So this is how the delete is going to work. We just have to call the product repository dot delete function and pass your product model ID, sorry, the complete product model. Then to sort all the things, we have sort by property already created, which is this function inside our abstract class. We need to pass the column index, ascending, descending property. Okay, we again we covered each and every concept of what is this ascending, what is this column index, what is this searching and sorting. Everything is created. Make sure to again watch previous videos if you're confused, or you can ask me any question in the comments. Sort by property is going to take that index, ascending, descending order, and we're going to sort it on top of the title, then price, then stock, then sort quantity. So we have these four type of sorting. After that, these functions are very much identical to what we created inside e-commerce app, but those who are new here, we have two type of products. The first product is the single product, which does not have any variations, and the second product contains variations, right? So for the simple product, we just need to check that if the product type is single and we do not have any variations, then we have to return either the sale price. If there is any sale greater than zero, this means the sale is on, sale price is there. Then we want to display that sale. We will return the sale price. And if there is no sale price, we will return the actual price. So by this way, we have the product price, right? But in the other case, we need to find the smallest and largest value to display inside our table. And to do that, we will create smallest price, which will be the maximum, and largest price, which will be minimum at start, right? Then we're going to run for loop on top of all variations one by one. We're going to get the single variation sale price because we have to consider which price we are going to check. Either it's a sale price of this variation or the regular price. So if there is any sale of this variation, we will get the sale price, otherwise the simple price. We'll use this price to consider and check if the smallest price is less than price to consider, then store that smallest price over here, and same way if it is greater, store the largest price. So once we have our smallest and largest price, we're simply going to check if smallest price is equal to largest price, then again they are same. We're simply going to return the largest price, which will be only one price. And if that is not the case, we need to check, we have to return a string with the smallest price, add a sign, and then again add a dollar. This dollar is going to be printed out, and then as a variable, this dollar is used as a variable. So call the largest price and this value will be returned. So once we are able to get our product price, either it's a single product or variable product, we just have to pass the product. Then we're going to calculate the sale percentage. We have two prices, original price and sale price. So what is the percentage or how much percent this product is off? We are not using this inside the admin panel, but this function is useful. You want to use it, you can use it. Get product stock total. Again, we have two type of products. Single will simply return stock of the single. And if we have product variations, we are going to use the fold property to sum up all these variations. Previous value starting is 0. Then at the start, previous value is also 0. And element means previous value. This is a function. So previous value is 0, element dot stock. So in the stock, let's say we have 1. So it will keep summing up all of them, and it is going to return a string back to from where it is called. Then get product sold quantity, same way. Get product stock status. If there is any stock, we have in stock, otherwise out of stock. So once this controller is created, a repository is created and the model is created. Now we can assign this data to our design. For that, go to lib, features, shop, screens, and find the product. In that, we have to go to the first of all product desktop. Okay, inside the product desktop, first of all, you need to create the instance of that product controller. And because only in this way we will be able to access all the variables and methods of this controller. Once we have that, we're going to call is loading. If the product controller is loading, then we're not going to display the product table. And once it's loaded, we are going to display the product table with header. And same way in the mobile and tablet. Next, once the loader is completed, we will go to the products table, which is inside this table and products table. In here again, we need to create the instance of product controller. You can simply call product controller dot instance instead of again calling the get dot put, but you can also use this one. Okay, in here, I've also added the visibility to false because if you have a question in mind that what are these two things, they are not going to be displayed. These two texts are just for demonstrating that whenever there is change in the filtered items, this OBX is going to redraw the complete paginated data table. Otherwise, we're not using these two things inside this table, but we're only using these two things inside rows, right? So to redraw this table, whenever there is change in the filtered items and selected rows, we have to make sure that it is inside this OBX. And if I'm going to remove this visibility widget, it will remain same because we are returning this widget, not these two widgets, right? So still it is going to work. We have sort ascending, sort column index, and then for the columns, as in the design, we have these columns already created, and just we are using on sort, which is this one, and on sort for the stock, on sort for sold, for the pricing, and not for date actions and for the brand. Now if we go to the rows where we're going to print everything, we first again need to get the instance of that product controller so that we can again access those variables. First of all, to extract the product inside the get row, we are going to use controller dot filtered items, and at the current index which we receive inside this function, we will extract each product one by one. And once we have that product, we will use selected property to check that if this row is selected or not. So inside selected rows, we will go to the current index, and if it returns true, this means this row is selected. Otherwise, it will be false. On tap, whenever it is going to trigger, we are going to go to the edit product screen, and we will pass the complete product as an argument. Remember this as an argument because in the edit screen, in the next tutorial, we're going to get that product from the arguments because we are adding this one as arguments. And when on select change is going to be called, which is this one for the checkbox, we are again going to update the selected rows at current index to the value whatever we receive, if it is true or not. If it is null, only that case we're going to make this as false, means it is not checked. Then for the design, first of all, we have the product image and the product title. For the image, we're using product thumbnail image and change the image type to network. And for the text, we're using product.title. All the design is already created and explained in the design section where we have completed each and everything. So make sure to watch that. Then we are going to get the product stock total from the function of this controller, then product sold quantity. Then for the brand, we again have a row, and in the row we have first of all image with the smaller width and height as compared to the product image. And if the product brand image is not null, we're going to display the type to network, and otherwise it will be asset. And for the image itself, again, if the product brand is not null, we're going to display product brand image. And if that is not the case, use the default image from the assets. Then we're going to display the product brand name if it is not null, otherwise it will remain empty. Then we're going to get the product price. We will pass the complete product, formatted date, and in the action buttons, whenever edit action button is going to be triggered, we are going to call this edit product string. And in the arguments, we are again going to pass the product, which is very same as clicking on the row. And when the on delete is going to be pressed, we're going to call controller dot confirm and delete item, which is inside the abstract class. And we're not going to override anything because it has a generic type of get model or dialog model which will be appeared, title, content, OK and cancel button. When the OK button is going to be triggered, this function is called, and this function is going to call the delete item, which is an abstract method created at the top over here. And this abstract method is implemented by our product controller delete item, and this is how it is going to work. Once everything is set up, the last thing in the table source is row count approximate false, row count of the filtered items, and selected row count from the selected rows. Now let's try to run this application. Okay, our application is running and currently we do not have any sales. Dashboard is static as well. So let's go to the products, click on it because all of the previous things are created and completed. And in the products, you can see we successfully loaded all the products, which are 41 products. Okay, you can see the product sort is working in ascending and descending order. Also, we have these two sorts. Then we have the pricing sort. I think it is okay. It is working because we also have variations. And also, if we are going to test it, like let's find something. Okay, search is not working. I guess we forgot to add the search function. We did not call the search function as we should. So let's go back. Inside the product desktop screen, we have to, in the table header, we have search on change. And whenever search on change is going to call, we need to call controller dot search query function. And because this is a function, so we're going to receive query from here, control alt L to align. And also make sure you copy this and paste it in the mobile and tablet. Let's rerun it again. Okay, now it's time to search something. Let's search for the Nike items. You can see we have Nike over here, Nike again. We can search for shoes or the shoe, and you can see search is working as well. We have pages or the number of rows which are 20. Let's click on them, and you can see now we can scroll all the 20 items instead of triggering the next page. So let's go to the next one. And now in the next tutorial, we're going to learn that how we can add or update each product, and also the delete one is created by clicking on this. You can see the delete item popped up. When I'm going to click on this OK, it will definitely delete the item, but we will create a test product in the next tutorial and we will try to delete this as well. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you learned something new. If you learned something new, please like the video, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for all the upcoming videos. Once again, thank you for watching. And if you have any question, you can ask me down below in the comments. And for the source code, you can head towards codingwitty.com or visit the description below. And also for the complete e-commerce app and for the complete e-commerce admin panel, I'll again drop these links to these courses in the description. Thank you for watching again and take care.